There is a miracle molecule for sleep apnea that won a Nobel Prize in medicine, and it is the difference between having a clogged up nose versus a nose that allows for easy breathing. It is a difference between quiet sleep versus a lot of snoring that forces everybody out of the bedroom, your dog included. And it's also the big difference between you stop breathing at night and you being able to have nice, easy breathing that allows you to have deep, restorative sleep and wake up actually feeling good. So this is one of the most important molecules we will ever cover. It is nitric oxide. Here it is. It's NO, but it's a big YES. And I don't apologize for that pun because it was kind of good. And the reason it's important is because when you have sleep apnea at a baseline, because of the physiology, you have 50% less nitric oxide. Some studies there you check out if you want to do that later. But the main thing to know is that it's also important because if you have lower nitric oxide, not only is it going to hurt your sleep, but it's also going to cause blood pressure to go up because nitric oxide allows your blood vessels to dilate and get wide and lower your blood pressure. So without it, you have tight blood vessels, high blood pressures. So when you actually look at patients with sleep apnea, as shown in the research, you can see that in comparison to someone who's normal, healthy, usually it goes down by like huge amounts. We're talking about like, 50, 70% here. So that's why this is your nitric oxide masterclass, if you will. We're going to be quick, efficient. We're going to talk about the discovery of this molecule and the best ways to increase it because that can support nice, easy breathing and sleep at night. Now, of course, this is not medical advice. This is for educational purposes only. Consult with your healthcare provider about everything from your socks to what you're doing in your health plan. Not so serious about the socks, more serious about the health plan. But what I am serious about is subscribing. So if you want to stay up to date with the latest and greatest, click that button and help us get the word out. So, nitric oxide. Let's talk about this, how it was discovered. So, if you're a history buff, which I'm not, but if you are, you would know or perhaps learn that back in the day when we were spending time using dynamite and that sort of stuff, I'm not sure what we use for explosive nowadays, but they found that nitroglycerin, right? That was something that led to some interesting effects in workers. And they would go through different things like having headaches. And then on Sundays, they would have these things called Sunday heart attacks. And the reason this would happen is because they would be exposed to nitric oxide for like 5 days out of the week or 6 days out of the week. This would enhance blood flow, which can lead to headaches if it's too much. And then when they were removed from that environment, as a result, blood flow would go way down, and then you would have things like heart attacks happen. And after a series of studies, they found it was trackable to nitroglycerin. And when they discovered how this mechanism worked quite some time later, they discovered that it could have huge uses for things like chest pain and also heart disease. So if you ever have the unfortunate having a heart attack, which, knock on wood, it will happen to some of you in the future if it hasn't already, just by nature of sleep apnea, a good either the EMS, the emergency medical services, or the ER doc, they may give you nitroglycerin because that can help reduce the chest pain. And it'll look like this, pop it in your mouth, helps expand blood vessels, helps out your heart momentarily. So we found this amazing molecule, right? And like any advanced civilization would do, we took this thing and directed it to where it was needed most. I'm not going to say anything, but I'll just have these pictures up here and you can connect the dots of the multi-billion-dollar industry of, again, I said I'm not going to say anything. So I always ask, what about sleep apnea? How does nitric oxide apply to this? So I think you've seen this a bajillion times, but I'll just kind of cut out a lot here because I'm trying to be fast nowadays. Bottom line, sleep apnea. Narrow airways lead to fast breathing. Fast breathing becomes its own problem and then causes the suctioning of these tissues to the back of the throat. Not good. So we want to be able to have slower breathing. And if we can create any widening, that'll also help at the same time. So that's where nitric oxide comes in. So number one is that nitric oxide can help remove the trigger for the fast inhale. Because again, if you have a narrow airway, fast breathing. Open it up, you can have slower breathing. And that's exactly what nitric oxide does at a fundamental level. It will cause dilation or widening of these airways, as shown there. Number two is that nitric oxide slows down breathing. partly because of this, and then also because of how it modulates our brain-body connection with our lungs here. So I'm going to skip a lot of in between here because we don't have time to get into loop gain and hypoxic ventilatory response. But for inquiring minds, it's up there. I don't want to bore you. I want to get to the good action steps here, just like you do. And then lastly, nitric oxide also increases oxygen exchange. Exchange. Not so much saturation. It will increase that by like, 1 to 3 percentage points, but it massively increases oxygen coming across so that it's not the limiting factor. So it increases oxygen into your body by 20%. That doesn't necessarily equate to 20 percentage points on your pulse ox. Okay, it only goes up by a few. So how do we do this? How do we increase nitric oxide? Because if we do, it should help out a lot. Now, as we get into the tips, if you want more tips on all things related to sleep apnea, make sure you hit that subscribe button here because it really helps. Well, it helps you most importantly, because whenever I have a new episode about maybe it's an exercise or a diet tweak, it'll help you see that a lot sooner. And then other people out in the world who think there's nothing to do for sleep apnea, they are able to learn more and do more. So what the heck to do for nitric oxide? And it's been a wonderful day because I learned I can put GIFs. I don't know how it's supposed to be pronounced. You could let me know, but I found that out. So number one are going to be foos for nitric oxide. Now, I guess just look at the left side of the chart. I'm not sure why low, like just a, not really consideration. I'm not going to read these to you. You're presumably an adult, and if you're not, talk to your parents about going online. You remember when commercials used to say that? Anyway, there's your screenshot. Number two is humming, because when you do humming, it will actually massively increase the nitric oxide in your nasal passageways. Now, you can do it quite simply as just breathe in and then hum and exhale at the same time. The exhale will happen as a result of humming. So 3, 2, 1. And it's very common in people, you do this, whether you do it like literally right now, maybe you got a stuffy nose, or just before bed, that'll really help open up your passageways and make it easier to sleep at night and increase nitric oxide in a very easy way. And I don't think I have this one listed. Now, that's humming, and we can actually add it together with nasal breathing, or different types of it. So you can use these together. I guess this is a combination of them. So sorry if I'm cheating you out of having 3, but it's really 2. No, there is another one. Oh yeah, there is another one. So you do have 3 total. So you want to combine the humming with alternate nasal breathing of different kinds. So for instance, inhale, and then you can clog off one, and then hum. Simple as that. And you can just go all through the same nostril if you're particularly stuffed up, because it's easier to open up one at a time. And then you can do that for like 3 minutes, and then just switch. So on and so forth. And then if you're feeling extra froggy, what you can do is inhale and then exhale while humming. This would be alternate nasal. So exhale and then inhale. Switch, exhale. Inhale, exhale. So the humming and the exhale goes together. It's also a great strategy for people to leave you alone. You want to do that in public. Works fantastically well. Then number 4, I think there's more. I forget how many I jammed in here because there's another one beneath this. Number 4 are going to be different supplements have shown to boost levels of nitric oxide. One of them being this one, beetroot juice, which you can make yourself. There's also like little shots, like 5-hour energies, but for beets. And that's been shown to increase nitric oxide. And of course, talk to your doctor if that is appropriate for you, because it will affect your blood vessels, how they work. So that's not something you do all willy-nilly. Just like these 2 amino acids here, L-citrulline and L-arginine, they can have a very similar effect. Obviously not going to be as natural or tasty as beetroot juice, but will have the same biochemical endpoint with some minor variations. So those are things, again, always talk to your doctor. And number 5 is the right mouthwash. So what I mean by this is when you use an alcohol-based mouthwash, it is going to kill off all the bacteria, not all the bacteria, but like most of the bacteria in your mouth. But the thing is, Your mouth is just like the rest of your gut. We don't want to completely get rid of all the bacteria. We want to cultivate the right ones, and especially in our mouth, because a lot of bacteria there will help to contribute to the amount of nitric oxide that we have. So if you use an alcohol-based mouthwash, it'll reduce them. So it's not as simple as just letting your teeth rot, and I would recommend many ways and many things against that. It would just be using a herbal-based mouthwash. So here's one. I'm not affiliated with them, but I have tried this and I really like this one. It's strong. Okay, it's like, I mean, like you inhale like Christmas joy into your mouth. I think there's clove in it, but that's a great one. Herbal based, and herbal based mouthwashes have been shown to just help with the beneficial bacteria in your oral microbiome. So those are all the things for you. And to help you out, I like to have them all written down for you here. So how to get that, our no guide, our nitric oxide guide. I sound like a radio host more and more every single day. I think I'm getting too pressured by people like, just go ahead and talk faster. We already make shorts. Now, back to this. How do you get it? The nitric oxide guide. There will be a link in the description, and then also for the sleep apnea reset protocol workshop, which is designed to help support good, healthy breathing patterns to help you go from fast, sad breathing to slow, happy breathing and keep your airways nice and comfortable at night. Walks you through a series of tests so that you're able to learn and educate and empower yourself of how to have great nighttime breathing. So, how to get them? Either one. So, link in the description if you're on your phone. Click that title and then click the link in the description box. And for the sleep apnea reset protocol, there should have been a button on the screen when I talked about it. And if not, shame on me. Regardless, you should be able to find a button just below everything or in the description box as well. And if you want to use URLs, you can go to ochnow.com/NO to get the nitric oxide guide. And if you want to get the sleep apnea reset protocol workshop, go to ochnow.com/reset. So I'll leave those there for you. My computer wants to run even slower. That'd be great. And of course, would always appreciate hit that subscribe button so you can help yourself and also help the world get the message. So thank you so much for watching. Hope I didn't talk too fast. Despite popular belief, these videos are not sped up. I just watched a lot of horse race announcers when I grew up. I'm signing off. Dylan Peckus here. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.